Hi, I'm here with an investor who's goes by the name of DaBao on Twitter, based in Taiwan. So very pleased to have you here. I think you've been requested to talk, and I think many people are very interested in hearing your perspective and your views on stocks as well. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we can start out by getting to know you. What's your background? I mean, maybe we can start with your name. What does that mean? DaBao.
Oh, because I registered Twitter in 2010, and at the time we had a gorgeous Russian blue cat, and his name's DaBao. Just a good boy. So I just like because I don't have like too much of an idea, so I just use his name. Yeah,
That was very early on, 2010. Have you been on Twitter since
yeah,
then?
2010. Uh, Not really. I really started to use it maybe around like 2021, perhaps. Yeah.
I've seen you like exactly, maybe from like 2022, 2023, and you've been one
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
very few people tweeting about Taiwanese stocks, which I love.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Thank you.
it's such a rare, especially. I guess you also tweet in English, which helps an
Yes.
international audience. But
Yes.
okay, so you're based in is it Kaohsiung, right?
Yeah. Kaohsiung. Yeah.
Cool. And what's your background? You worked in the securities industry or the buy side before? Or
Yes. So I have worked in three family office for a total of 10 years. So mostly in a research analyst capacity. So more about like advising on asset allocation, stock selection, that kind of nature. And I grew up in Taiwan, and I went to high school and university in Melbourne, Australia, and majoring in economics and finance. And later on, I just pick up some accounting credits and pass the US CPA exam. So I just try to have more practical tools at my disposal, so I can like better do an analyst job. And so that's pretty much it.
you studied a CPA to become better at investing, or did you have plans
Yes.
on potentially becoming an accountant
Well,
or
I
auditor?
mean, I mean, I have to like plan for contingency, right? I mean,
Sure.
like what happens if a war breaks out, and what happens if I, start out this investing career, right? It could go down to zero or negative. Then I have to be a real accountant.
Fair enough. And I mean, why not? And what about your accounting skills? Like, have you changed your investing style after you studied for the CPA?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like nuance, like especially auditing. Like auditing is like teach you think about like little operational details like in many aspects. So you have like a bigger picture, the fuller picture. Yeah, and like I was like really interested in learning like supply chain, like purchasing, warehousing, logistics, that kind of stuff. So having like auditing is like another tool, like very useful.
Interesting. And okay, so you've been investing. I guess you've been working for family offices before. And did you invest at the same time yourself? And if so,
Oh
what
yeah,
stocks?
yeah.
What was your focus? Was it always Taiwanese equities, or have you been a global investor?
I mean, pretty much always like a global investor, and I have been investing since 2011. So like 15 years. Because I mean, because at in like our current situation, right? Invasion risk is always present, so I have to diversify, and always useful to allocate a portion of that overseas. So, and plus it's a great opportunity to learn, right? It's great uh place to try out like different strategies.
Makes sense. What do you think are the biggest differences between investing in Taiwan versus overseas? Are there anything
Well, I
that's
mean,
yeah, and
yeah.
anything that you
Well,
should think about? Just curious. If you
well, I
were to
mean,
invest in
like,
Taiwan.
So if you look at like US stocks, okay, like US markets extremely competitive, so competitive. And like they don't those earnings slides is always non-US gap. You know, they massage the numbers a little bit, but in Taiwan the numbers are plain vanilla. You get to see, you see is what you get. And obviously, the Taiwanese market is extremely B2B, like so very industrial, very manufacturing. So like the thinking is like complete different, right? So, but I mean like because of that, when I look for overseas companies, like for example Japan, Korea, and I try to look for those niche industrials like niche manufacturing, so I can use that skill set and apply to different markets.
Exactly. It's okay. And what about portfolio construction? How do you approach that? You have a Taiwanese portfolio, you have an overseas portfolio.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
How do you allocate between
Okay,
those
so
two, or do you use leverage anything, or how do you think about building a larger portfolio?
so currently I have 20 positions in Taiwan and 24 in international. And in terms of like the amount, so 75% of the value is in Taiwan and 25% overseas. And the largest position is TSMC, and so at 20%. And I don't use leverage at this point because I see like the signs of overheating in Taiwan and other places as well. So I just want to be cautious.
What are those signs of overheating that you're seeing right now?
Okay, so like people like inexperienced investors, they get super confident. So and they just rush in. And because the borrowing cost in Taiwan is cheap, right? So they just like borrow against their insurance policy, their mortgage, right? And their portfolio itself as well, like getting margin loan. So like a lot of irrational behavior. And you see like IPO boom, you see like ETF boom, and so just a lot of science.
Are they what's the most popular stock among speculative investors in Taiwan? Is it TSMC, or is there
Oh,
any
actually
other,
not.
bellwether stock?
The reason why I still have TSMC at the largest position is
Yeah.
because I don't think it's expensive. Like money just flow into optics, CPO. And I just feel like the whole CPO story will probably take 2 to 3 years to smooth out. I mean, it would happen, but it takes time. So yeah, people are in love with optics all the time.
Even Largan was traded up on the optics theme,
Yeah. I
which
actually tweet about
came
it.
as
Yeah, I
oh
actually
yeah,
tweet about it.
came as a surprise to me.
Yeah.
But okay, how about like do you have any? Is it possible for you to compare with the craziness of the 1980s in Taiwan? Because that was the mother of all bull markets.
Yeah.
Are we
Actually,
anywhere close to that level? Yeah,
uh, like I think it's a complete different story because I was two at the time,
sure.
but I remember like the whole events pretty well because uh at that time the limit up is 5%, like 5%. Now it's 10%. So
Yep.
like pretty much in 1989, like every single day just limit up everywhere. And I think at that time the number of stocks is was 150, so you don't have too much selection. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's like limited up every single day. And like it's really disrupt people's like daily lives. So like factory workers, they don't want to work, right? So like people staring at the you know like the ticker tapes. I know what was that being called, but like it's very speculative and like very passionate. But now, oh, at the time, TSMC wasn't even public. Like TSMC went public in 1994. So like the quality was very low at the time. So complete different story. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine. Is it not 2,000 stocks listed in Taiwan? So,
Yeah.
almost, right?
Right
That's
now, yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Compared to the
yeah,
US, I mean, it's only Taiwan is a small country. To have that many stocks
yeah,
listed, it's amazing.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I would make argument that like Hong Kong has even more stocks.
Fair enough. Okay. So what do you think about Hong Kong stocks? I mean, I think you've expressed, let's say, some skepticism about Hong Kong stocks. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, there's a very polite way to put that way, right? I would say like structurally it's floated, right? So it's very hard to find like management or companies that are like very try to build a long-standing business, try to cultivate healthy long-term relationship with customers, suppliers, like a healthy ecosystem. Like the culture or the environment is very middleman, right? So I sell your stocks or I sell stocks, and if it doesn't work, like it's not my fault, right? So it's very middleman mindset, and just not very entrepreneurial, not very innovative. And the second reason is the environment in China, right? So competition very brutal. The tech cycle moves very fast. Demand can change very quick, right? Could like vanish very very fast. And regulation, is arbitrary. I mean, in 2021 or 2022, right? The after school education sector just collapsed overnight, right? So like very unpredictable, and obviously the huge overhang is that the U.S. China relationship, right? Being with U.S. being the largest consumer market in the world, and China being the export-driven economy, so just over a very tough environment to operate in.
Yeah, it's possible that U.S. pension fund, for example, are prohibited from investing in Chinese equities at some point. I mean, that would
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
an extreme scenario,
Like
but it could
22.
happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Well, I mean, they were prohibited from investing in military-linked companies. 2020, that
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
executive order from Trump. But
yeah.
would you invest in A shares? Would you be more likely to invest in A shares than Hong Kong shares, or just red chips generally?
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense because if you look at the premium slash discount, right? So
Yep.
like same companies, these both in Asia or Hong Kong, normally the Hong Kong one will have like a much bigger discount. So in that case, you can just invest in Hong Kong instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Closed capital accounts, I guess.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So you mentioned before that you invest in two stocks. Is that your quota?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
stocks.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What, and what are those two stocks? I mean, how do you select those two stocks? I guess you're very selective then. Would you
yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like because my strength is in industrial. So normally, if I have to pick, it's more of that variety, and they like ideally should have like a good Taiwanese supply chain exposure, so I can really understand the company. So if you look at my previous tweets, right? So one footwear adhesive company, you know, right in the middle of Taiwanese
Infinity.
supply chain. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also Lenovo, we like upstream, downstream, like right in the middle of Taiwanese supply chain. So yeah, pretty much that's my strategy. Yeah. Oh, and the reason why I select Tencent in addition to Lenovo is just obviously cheap. It's so obvious, right? So it's like 11 times next year's earning, and you'll continue to grow like 10%. And I just feel like they have enormous amount of data, user data, and very easy to map AI onto gaming and ads. So
Hmm. What it became an did it become a data center play? Was that why the stock doubled? I mean, almost doubled, right, in a few months. Lenovo.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're referring to Lenovo. Yeah. Because
Oh, sorry.
okay, so they make PC, they make notebooks, but they also make general purpose servers, and they
Yep.
also make AI server. Yeah, and they have this global servicing support capability. So like a lot of people overlook that, and they have like a little bit of know-how in liquid cooling solutions, so they can like tune out those like good like servers. So yeah, that is basically the same reason why DAO goes up. It's very similar to DAO. But I think like DAO has like EMC, the storage solution, and the Nova is like slightly behind uh storage, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned before a number of business models that you like, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing that there's a common thread there of companies that have like high switching costs in their supply chains, or maybe like you call them mission critical services.
Yeah.
Can you talk
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of business models do you think are superior, or what do you like to invest in?
Okay, so I mean the classic mission critical uh type of business everybody's aware of is elevators, right? So it's very install based. Okay, so being from Nordic, you must know Korn, the Finnish
Yep.
elevator company, right? So you have that. You install elevators, and 40% of revenues coming from servicing, coming from maintenance. So that, and the other one's distributors. So I'll spend a little bit of time on distributors. So we can see it from the perspective of a merchant and perspective of a customer. So for merchant, so you get the distributor will have better market intelligence. So more touch points. Uh, you just need someone to serve the local market in terms of like support and after sale service. So that's that. And then they give you a good filter in terms of consumer credits. So they know like which customer have good credit, which customer don't. That doesn't. And also like for example, if you want to sell to like government, like they know the whole like procurement process, they know like paperwork, like how to like satisfy all the proper process. So that's from merchant's perspective. So from a customer perspective, so you get one stop shopping. So instead of like us asking like 100 calls and listen to 100 sales pitch, you can just go to a distributor. Like you only need to negotiate contract once instead of like do it over like 10 times. And like if you need like support, you need servers, you need like data sheets, spec sheets, like samples, right? It's a hassle to ask it 10 times. You just go to your distributor and do it all at once, right? And also another thing is payment terms as well. Hey, so if you have a long relationship with a distributor, like he or she will give you a better term compared to a new supplier, because you have to like answer questions, you have to build trust and take time. And like so for that business model also, like each additional supplier or each additional customer would add value to this network, right? So you get better reach both sides. So yeah, that is basically the gist of distributor business model.
It sounds like they have more switching costs than people, or more, they're more sticky, their businesses, than maybe people realize.
Yes, yes.
Do you expect them, you typically buy when the P ratios are low, or is it more of a growth story, like a volume growth story? Is that the angle you typically are looking to make money on? Volume
Well,
growth?
I mean, uh, growth in volume, growth in ASP.
Yeah.
you say, oh, and like a consolidation, because there are like many distributors. If you are doing capital allocations, you can like really gobble up those pops and moms distributors and try to build up a bigger business that way.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you've mentioned a number of stocks on Twitter, not just distributors, but I've noticed that some of them have, let's say, well, it's a very common problem in Japan that return on equity is low. A lot of times,
Yes, yeah,
the
yeah,
target return on equity can be extremely low as well. Sometimes 11%.
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
just
yeah,
Mizuno had like a 11.5% ROE target.
yes.
Casio like 12% or 11%. Incredibly low. And my question is, I've noticed some of the stocks that you talked about as well, like Fuji Seal, maybe. Our
Yeah,
return
yeah, yeah,
equity
yeah,
profile is a
yeah.
little bit on the lower side. Now, my question to
Yeah.
you is, do you care about that, or does it
I,
not
I mean,
matter?
like with like everything else equal, I would prefer a higher ROE. Yeah, of course. But I like sometimes you have to choose. You have to make a trade off. You like if you want like a super mission critical company, or you want a mediocre company with higher ROE. It's a trade off. But secondly, like regarding to Japan, I can understand why they are conservative. Because I mean, think about it, right? So you know about the bubble economy, right? So the economy was like super, like strong, like everybody getting rich very very quick, very soon. Like in like I think maybe peak at 1989, right? And then after you have like 30 years of like deflation, basically. And also like Japan is resource poor, like you have earthquakes, you have like many natural disasters. So that's why people tend to be very cautious, under this environment. So that's why, they have like excess cash. But I mean, there are movement, government initiatives and like a lot of like foreign investors coming in telling, management, how to allocate the resource better, how to do a better capital allocation. So I do feel like in the future those things will trend into a positive direction.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like you say, like the return on equity being low is a lot of times because of excess cash. It's not necessarily
Yes,
because the business model is
yes,
worse.
yeah, yeah.
So I agree with you on that. Um, let's see here. What do you think about Taiwanese small caps? If you were a foreign investor like me, where would you start? Like any advice for someone who's less experienced than you? You seem to
Well,
know
I
almost
mean, like,
every single Taiwanese small cap. So I'm
yeah, yeah,
guessing you have a
but
lot of experience.
I know, but this is kind of like a complicated question for me because my strength is niche industrials. So that is a good skill set to apply on mission critical companies. So that's why I tweet about, fourth transportation, like crystal oscillators and like service mounting. But those slides incredibly dry and technical. So I don't know like if people want to hear about it. I don't know if there's, this is their preference. But like for general purpose, like general advice, I would recommend people stick with a supply chain they know very well. And obviously you need to apply general financial acumen. So, looking for healthy, robust balance sheets, income statement, cash flow, like good, you know, capital allocation policy, that kind of things. Yes.
Are there any sectors that you think are particularly interesting? I mean, you've talked about, of course, AI capex beneficiaries, but you've also talked about the bicycle industry,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
e-ink, and so on. Anything that you think one should pay attention to?
Well, I mean, like, because, like, as I say, right, CPO or optics or AI capex, the like I think it's slightly overheated, but at the same time, opens up opportunities for mission critical companies. So if you look for that, not only in Taiwan but also in Japan and Korea, like it's right, it's like now is an optimal time to step in to look for those opportunities. So I mean, like I can give you one example that I haven't tweeted about it, right? So this Cathay Consolidated. So it's a manufacturer of TPU films, like technical fabrics. So what they do is they make those fabrics for the evacuation slides on commercial airplane. So life vests, evacuation slides, and
But
also
this is
medical.
plastic, essentially, a
Yeah,
special
yeah,
type
yeah,
of
yeah, pretty
plastic.
much. TPU,
Hmm.
and is recyclable. And they also make like medical matrix, so like some kind of like high grade medical quality. So when patients lay on those matrices, they don't have bad sore. And they also make fabrics for like inflatable rescue boats. So you can see like it's very like mission critical. So because the stretchability, the tear and wear resistance, and the durabilities are the the
Very
performance
important.
requirements high. Yeah, very important. Exactly. Yeah.
Do they have,
So that
do they have proprietary formulas for the? I mean, they have special ingredients in the TPU that they produce
yeah yeah
that's somehow
yeah.
superior.
Proprietary like knowledge. It's like how they process the fabrics, how they apply the coding, etc. etc. Yeah.
Can I ask you about KMC? I'm interested myself.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
some insider buying in KMC. Is a bicycle chain manufacturer, by the way. I've written about Giant in the past, and you've written, I think, about Topcon. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Top key. Yeah,
Top Key. Sorry, so Top Key.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Curious to hear whether you think whether you have an updated view, because you wrote about that stock, I guess, 2 years ago or something on Substack, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about bicycle industry is that, uh, like right now, like there are few Chinese brand they make an entry with like very good price point. Like if you look at those bikes, it's like very competitive, very attractive. But the thing with bicycle is that the self support like is half of the story. So because it's a product for consumers, for cyclists, right? So you need like specialized bicycle mechanics to try to feed the bike and try to understand your needs and try to adjust, try to find a appropriate bike for you for that purpose. And also for those bike shops, if they do their job well enough, they will organize, like special riding groups and try to take you. So it's very social. It's like very kind of like almost a club life, right? So because it's like you need like someone to take you to experience like those special routes, like special roads. So I don't know if like the Chinese products will have that level of support. You know what I mean? Like you need to have those bike owners to stand behind to really support it over a long period of time. They can produce cheap bikes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's honestly amazing how Giant has been able to build up this global supply chain. Not supply chain, but they have stores around the world.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know how many
yeah,
they have, but it's a lot. They really
yeah.
have this
And
network.
and the thing with Giant is that like a lot of people don't know about this. They have like bikes especially for women. Okay, so basically female riders like uh, will have like a completely different economic needs, right? So narrower shoulder and longer torso. So if they have like a normal like men's bike, it will be very extremely uncomfortable. So giants have that product line especially for female riders. Like I mean, that is the kind of like the user design user experience that I'll know if the Chinese brands will consider that or not.
Yeah, I suppose now it's just a question of whether the cycle has turned. We had this oversupply after COVID,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
and I haven't been able to like track the inventory, developments. But the insider buying in KMC is interesting, isn't it? At least for
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
That's good. But what about TSMC? Like, do you think the capex is still going to rise in the next few years? Do you think that
Yeah,
story? I mean,
yeah,
you still own the stock, right?
yeah. I still own it. Yeah, yeah. Because what happened is that like no matter GPU, CPU, like TPU or applications specific IC, no ASICs, like ultimately you need to place order to TSMC. Like that's the only way, right? So there's no escaping.
Could they raise prices a lot more if they wanted to, TSMC?
Oh, they can. They actually can. Yeah.
So they're essentially they're the ones that are actually pushing back on orders, and they probably have an immense amount of pricing power if they really wanted to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Because I mean,
Okay,
like
yeah,
the whole okay, so the whole semiconductor or electronic industry is very cyclical, like very cyclical, like it's just very boom and busted. So like TSMC is being like extremely cautious because I mean, like every customer is like, oh, give us like more chips, like like it's hard to judge, right? So they just like exercise every bit of caution because they don't want to like spend it too much and have to fire people in the end.
yeah. Then I guess it's just a question of whether the customers are going to be stretched at some point. Someone said that the Mag 7 spend on capex is also already reaching operating cash flow levels, and it's just a question of how much they can conceivably buy in terms of GPUs and the build out of data centers. Maybe we would have to
Yeah.
reach a yeah, but yeah,
Well, I mean that's why I picked TSMC instead of like Oculus or CPO because I figure those players would get wash out first.
fair enough. What do you say to these people who say? I mean, when I speak to overseas investors, usually if they own in Taiwanese stocks, it's TSMC. But I suppose a few years ago they wouldn't invest in TSMC either because of the Taiwan invasion risk. Uh,
Yes.
but but that's still the case if you want to invest in anything else than TSMC. They will still say, "But what about the invasion risk?" What would you tell? What would you tell these guys?
Well, I mean, okay. So the invasion risk is real. It's non-zero. Like it really exists. But the thing is, like, this is a very complicated question, right? And it requires a very nuanced understanding. Is that like it's because we achieve prosperity under a completely different ideology and a different political system. Being like, because like Taiwan is resource poor, right? Like small and with like 70% of land area being mountains, and like the mainlands are like 60 times larger and have all this resource, cheap electricity, cheap water, and cheap labor, and everything. But I mean, like it's just that we're able to have this high living standard and technology leadership. It's just like a existential threat to the CCP, to mainland China. So that is the pretty much the reason for them want to invade us. But that is a very tough sell to the Chinese people, saying, because we want to uh, eliminate this ideology, right? So it just will not work. And also, another thing is like the financial reward is extremely small. because like people estimate it's going to cost like 2 trillion for to have a invasion, and in the end they probably will win. And even that, they're not going to get like advanced semiconductors in the end. So it's just like a very incredible, like low risk reward thing to do.
Do you think there's any risk at some point of a blockade? Let's say some kind of control over the South China Sea, where Taiwanese are put in a perhaps difficult spot and having to kind of concede somehow.
Okay, so I really like studied this one now. I really have. Okay, so
Oh,
what happened
yeah.
is like the whole the seabed between like China and us is very shallow. So if the battleship uh carriers they want to make it through, it's very easy to detect. And like Chinese know, maybe in terms of Navy, they are on the same level or close to US, but they lag behind in terms of like space, cyber, submarines. So like the whole blockade is hard to achieve, really. And also like Taiwan, okay, in terms of terrain, there are only like 17 ideal spot to land, mostly on the west side. Actually, one just next to my place, so it's extremely easy to defend. It's just say in terms of like military like difficulty, just so hard to achieve. Basically.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I really realized I have one question I wanted to ask you, and
Yes.
I've written these posts about hidden champions in different countries. Technically, these hidden champions they come from a book written by Herman Simon, I think his name is,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Mittelstand companies, small companies in Germany that kind of dominate their respective industries. And
Yes. Yeah.
you said in my interview with you a while back, you said that this is one of your favorite books. So I wanted to ask you, do you have any of these hidden champions in Taiwan that you think really fit the profile? And if so, which one?
Oh, so the cafe consolidate that
Cathay,
I've
that's the
mentioned
one.
before. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's one. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do they have a high market share globally?
Oh, that number would I need a little bit of time to
No,
to find out. But I think they have
yeah,
like the solid growth, I say. Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, Taiwan, it does seem to have a few of these companies that completely
Yes.
dominate, like making snowboards or like bicycle chains.
Yeah.
Completely
Yeah.
unknown companies, but really dominant. But
Yes.
okay, that's super interesting, Dabao. And curious to hear also, will you writing sometimes ideas on Twitter? What about Substack? You have a Substack. You're going to continue writing on it, or what's your plan?
I mean, I just feel like Twitter can maybe convey most of my message already. Like it's a good platform for me to crystallize, to kind of like refine my ideas. So I say like if like people are interested, they can just follow me on Twitter. They can just give me a DM if they want to contact me. Yeah.
Sure. And it's your handle is at Dabao underscore, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thanks.